Today on the TMZ Podcast.
Hey, everybody. It's the TMZ Podcast with Jason and Jamie. Jamie, thank God for all of us sort of forward-thinking people who think that people should be able to have their own religions, whatever it is, and practice how they want to practice and shouldn't be judged for it. Khloe Kardashian has come to the defense of the right-minded. Do you feel better about things now that Khloe Kardashian has come out speaking against Kanye's anti-Semitic?
It was time.
It was time.
It was time.
Right.
A little too late, but better late than never.
So we've all been abuzz for about a week and a half now, 2 weeks now, about Kanye making these anti-Semitic comments. Initially, he came out and made sort of a blanket comment about Jews, and then later came back and said he just doesn't like, or he just wants bad things to happen to Jews who have done him wrong. And then over the weekend, he came back out again, and he said he kind of went at it again, saying basically all of the backlash against him proves that the people that basically Jews are in control and these hyper-woke people are in control of Hollywood.
No, he once again doubling down, saying that he was glad, basically, that Balenciaga dropped him, that it was one of the most freeing days of his life.
Yes.
Okay. He sat and was in front of all of the paps, and all of the autograph seekers were just eating it up. And he was, do you know where he was when he was talking to all these people,
No.
too? He was outside of North's basketball game. It's a basketball gym. You can see parents coming in and out. It's atrocious. It's a mess.
It is a mess. And, I feel bad laughing about it. I'm half Jewish. I've never experienced anti-Semitism in my life growing up in hyper-liberal LA. Didn't really bother me. This doesn't bother me either, except as a human being and a person of the world. But we're aware that there are anti-Semitic people out there, there are racist people out there, that there are all sorts of awful people out there. The fact that you have this one clearly sort of mentally stunted individual going out and making these comments, it doesn't bother me. I find our reaction and our being consumed by him more problematic than the actual comments he's made.
I understand what you're saying, but now it's getting scary because people are using him as an excuse to show their hate. In LA, there were people over the 405 freeway with giant signs that said, "Honk if you know Kanye is right about Jews," doing the Nazi salute as people were driving by. Yeah.
I have to tell you, it's awful. It's terrible. I don't want to diminish it at all. Again, we know that there are people who think these things. All you have to do is read sort of comments to any story on Twitter or wherever else, or not Twitter necessarily, but to any website that publishes anything about Kanye and his comments. You'll see dozens of people commenting saying, yeah, we think he's right. I don't even know if these people are serious about their views. I don't think it matters. I think they're more just trolls. But again, thankfully, well, I was going to say the vast majority of this country doesn't believe what he believes, but is that even true anymore?
I don't know. And I don't think anybody is influenced by Kanye. I don't think anybody who didn't already hate Jewish people woke up and said, you know what, he's got a point. But it is frightening that it normalizes it. That it's okay to stand. No one was standing on a freeway a month ago with a sign that says honk if you don't like Jewish people.
No, it's interesting if you go back to sort of the Donald Trump presidency, what we've seen, and I'm not even judging it, but it's just for better or for worse, the reality is that people are more willing to speak their minds than ever before. I remember hearing during the lead up to the 2016 campaign that people, what a lot of conservatives and far-right people enjoyed about Donald Trump was that he spoke his mind. And the response from many people was, but he lies about everything he says. And there's even an acknowledgement that a lot of what he says isn't true. But what I understood is they like the fact that he speaks about shithole countries, third world shithole countries, about we'd rather have immigrants from Norway because they come here and they're smart, that the comments that he made, there's a lot of people who felt these things, but forever felt that they were constrained by mainstream woke media from saying them publicly. And they liked the fact there was a man who came along who said them publicly. And I think Kanye is picking up on that and saying, I'm now permitted to say these things publicly. Well, he's Kanye West. He doesn't need anybody's permission. I'm going to say these things. And anybody who says that I can't say them publicly is just a emboldened by the mainstream media, and Kanye's come out and talked about how the Jewish-led media and all this stuff. Don't you think it's just they feel completely emboldened to say whatever they want?
But I guess my question is isn't it good for there to be a little bit of constraining people at all times? If you just say anything that comes out your mouth, you're walking down the street saying that lady's fat, you're ugly, you're like, you can't. There needs to be a
common
little
decency,
bit.
compassion for your fellow citizens, how they feel about things. Do they feel okay walking around society? Do they feel comfortable, or are they fearing violence? All those things. Yes. Don't you have that obligation?
I think that as humans, we need to be constrained a little bit. Otherwise, how do we function as a society? And it's interesting you're bringing up Donald Trump. Kim Kardashian was out to dinner with Ivanka for 3 hours in Beverly Hills this weekend. Is that a coincidence because they both have October birthdays? Ivanka, a Jewish woman.
Yes.
Also just had her father come out.
A converted Jew.
Converted Jew,
right? She married Jared Kushner and converted to Judaism as part of that.
Yes, but she's got 3 Jewish children.
Yes.
And Donald Trump said some controversial things about Jewish people several weeks ago on, I believe it was Parler.
Yep.
So I don't know if that's just a weird coincidence, if they're coming together for a reason.
Yeah, Kim is a businesswoman first and a charitable woman as well. And we saw that during the presidency of Donald Trump that she, although she disagreed with a lot of his politics, she nevertheless cozied up to him for the purpose of her, I don't remember what the project was called, prison reform, and trying to get people who were sent for long periods of time for maybe not that serious of offenses. She met with the president and got a couple people released. And I think Kim Kardashian, views these things as transactional. I don't think she's having dinner with Ivanka Trump because she loves her so much. I think she views it as transactional in that she and Ivanka can do what Kim thinks are good work together. Mm-hmm. And maybe there's something to that. I don't know. But at some point, Ivanka is the daughter of this man who has made sort of, some would argue racism a common thing you're allowed to speak in the tones of racism. I
was also thinking, do you think Pete Davidson is just sitting somewhere going, woo, dodged a bullet?
Yes. Although every time I see him in one of those terrible commercials he does, I think Kim is like, thoosh, dodged a bullet.
Fair enough.
Maybe a lot of bullet dodging going on. Staying in the vein of horrible things that are happening in this world, we want to revisit. The story's been out for a few days, but these daycare workers down in Mississippi who scared the kids with the horror mask. Jamie, you have 3 young children.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about
I've gone back and forth on this, and now I'm set in my ways.
Okay.
Everyone loves a good video of a kid being scared.
Yes.
I'm sorry. There was a.
Do we all love that?
We do. Who doesn't? There's a whole Instagram called Kids Getting Hurt, and it's got millions of followers. So, but the thing with the scared, there was a viral video about an Easter bunny that went from class to class in preschools, and the kids went meltdown, total meltdown,
terrified,
hilarious. And I was trying to think, why is that funny? But this is not. That was not the intention. Was to not scare the children.
Yeah.
This. Not only was the intention, and it wasn't a Halloween thing. This was a peek into what happened regularly.
Yeah,
and that is frightening.
Is that true?
Yes, they said that this was
I haven't followed the story that closely.
This was not one thing.
They would just scare the hell out of these kids with masks.
It was how they disciplined the children, is what the parents are saying.
Oh God!
If that's what you do, when you're speaking out of turn, where is the that is child abuse.
Oh my God.
Right?
That is the most horrible thing. This is how they did this on the regular.
That's what the parents are saying. They're saying that this was a peek into the daily life of the preschool. This is how they discipline the kids. This was not a one-time thing.
God. So I had not heard that part of the story. I had heard that these teachers were being criminally prosecuted for scaring these kids, which I thought was a bit too far. But now that I have that context, these allegations the parents are making, it's not too far at all. These people need to do prison time.
And then also thinking about the age, there is such a difference between a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. These kids were 2.
Yeah.
They can't communicate. They can't speak. They can't explain. They can't
even go home and tell their parents why it's bothered them.
So imagine being a parent and then you see this video and you say, what the hell went on for the past 2 years? My poor kid.
Oh my God. I was telling a friend the story this morning, and I'm going to repeat it here. When my daughter was like 4, she has this doll she's loved and carried around with her for the first 7 years of her life when she was like 4 or 5. It's a white doll, and we did this thing for April Fool's Day, which is a big thing in my house.
No.
Where we have one of those Roomba vacuums that vacuums the floor.
No.
And I took the doll and I put it underneath the Roomba vacuum, and then I took pieces of cotton balls and spread them out like just around the thing. And then when she comes home, like, oh my God, what happened? And she lost her shit. And the moment that I saw what I had done to her, the trauma that I'd clearly caused her.
You knew you went too far.
I'm like, I went too far. Oh, I'm just kidding. He lifted up. Still to this day, she's 13 now. This happened when she was 4 or 5. She still's like, that was the worst thing anybody's ever done. She makes a joke about $10,000 worth of therapy that she's going to have to suffer as a result of that. And I feel bad. Now, so that was an awful thing to do. And I'm sorry, JoJo. I'm still sorry. But
first of all, you were her father, so that
makes it better or worse?
Way better, way
okay.
better.
I'm allowed to
hey,
carry.
if I created you, I can do whatever I want. Like, sorry.
And secondly, I learned my lesson. I haven't done it.
Yes.
If I did it every 6 months from that point on, it would be something different.
And that's also the point. Let's say that their defense is, oh, no, this was a one-time thing. Okay, you went from child to child to child and saw each reaction and continued.
Yeah, and not only that, continued and got fiercer and more aggressive and got in their faces as they were screaming and yelled at the top of their lungs. It's one of the most horrible things I've ever seen. I mean, obviously, there are physical abuse of kids that happen, and those things are beyond the pale. But this is really mentally and emotionally abusive, the kind of thing that sticks with kids for a long time.
Sure.
Yeah, awful stuff. God, anything happier that we can talk about?
Well, you want to talk about Cardi B?
Let's talk about Cardi B.
All right, Cardi B. So Cardi B is going nuclear on Madonna.
Yeah.
So Madonna was celebrating the 30-year anniversary of her book called SEX.
Yep.
And she says, now Cardi B can sing about her WAP.
That's what the book is called, not Jamie spelling it out like she
of
goes
the word
F-U-C-K. She can say the word sex, yeah.
I'm not afraid of the word sex. So her book called SEX, which had a lot of very provocative photos and obviously sexual.
A bit ahead of its time,
Yeah.
92. It wasn't, she tried to make this huge thing. I remember it very well. She tried to make this huge thing, and then you got the book and you looked at it, and it was kind of not that sexual. But yeah,
Well,
okay.
now inside the mind of the Beckerman.
Right.
He was like, all right, too vanilla for him.
Give me more. Yeah, exactly.
So she wrote that now Cardi B can sing about her WAP, Kim Kardashian can grace the cover of any magazine with her naked ass, and Miley Cyrus can come in like a wrecking ball. You're welcome, bitches, with a clown emoji. That's where I think she went wrong.
Yeah, Cardi B was not happy about this.
No, she was pissed. She said, I literally paid this woman homage so many times because I grew up listening to her. She can make her point without putting clown emojis and getting slick out the mouth. So she got pissed.
What's the? I saw this whole story and I read it, and Madonna she constantly misses the mark in her efforts to be relevant. But what's the relevance, do you think, of the clown emoji at the end of this? Why is it something that tweaked Cardi the way that it did?
I don't know why Madonna used it, but if someone does it to you, it's calling you a clown. You're a fool. You're an idiot.
But
I don't know what Madonna was doing. I also think this is why 60-something-year-old women should just kind of stay in their lane. It doesn't mean you can't be sexual and amazing and awesome, but
well,
she
you can
doesn't.
also have somebody do this for you,
Sure.
a 20-something that
Or
understands the message.
Daughter.
And by the way, I don't even begrudge Madonna the message, because Madonna was a sexual pioneer. And I do think there's a point to be made, whether or not it's a totally valid or not, that the Cardis and the Miley Cyruses and everybody else are standing on the shoulders of giants that came before, as we all do. We all stand on their shoulders.
That is so unfair. When can your success be your own? Why is Madonna not paying tribute to Mae West?
Oh, I think she probably would.
But is Mae West going to be pissed if Madonna's
Mae West went to her grave angry at Madonna. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you know what I mean?
Know.
When is our success our own? And obviously, you can't say that I woke up and women had to wear a turtleneck and overalls until I came along. No, of course, we know that people did things before, but Cardi B does not need to be sitting on her knees praising and thanking Madonna forever.
She doesn't. And by the way, don't sleep on overalls. Secondly, no. I don't think she... look, you're right. Cardi owes nothing to Madonna if she doesn't want to pay it. And she says here, I assume it's true, that she has paid homage to Madonna for all the good things she's done. I think it was Madonna more as an older woman saying, I don't get the respect that I deserve for paving these ways. Okay, fine. So where she really gets into trouble, though, is she goes, the whole you should thank me, bitches, and the clown emoji. That's where she went too far in saying, basically, the fact you're not thanking me makes you a clown. You are not recognizing. She's not just saying, I did this first. She's saying, and all of you have an obligation to publicly recognize it. And I think that's where Madonna went way too far.
But she's gotten thanks from everybody, from Christina and Britney doing a Virgin at the MTV Movie Awards. Like, we get it, Madonna. Everyone gets it. Do we need to speak about it every day?
Yes.
Anyway, so things turned out to be okay. Apparently, she talked to Madonna. I don't know if Madonna picked up the phone and called her. And they're all good. No beef. She said, I talked to Madonna. It was beautiful. Have a great day. Drive safely, y'all.
Yeah. Crossing Madonna is an interesting thing. I think at this point, because Madonna is not held in such esteem, I think if you can cross Madonna and get her to yell at you, it actually benefits you, because people will think that you're better for getting Madonna. Like if you cross the wrong superstar, it can look bad on you. It can reflect badly. But I think crossing Madonna has zero impact. I think people, unfortunately, because she was such an important part of music for such a long time, I think she's become a bit of a joke. I think it's sad.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. And when's the last time she put out any music that anybody really wanted to listen to?
I really didn't grow up in the Madonna era, so I don't have the nostalgia for her that people do. I just find her odd.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to get a lot of hate over that.
No, she is odd.
Yeah.
I grew up in right at the perfect time. I was a 13-year-old boy when Lucky Star hit.
Yeah.
You know, she was the biggest thing in the world in a way that I don't even know that the biggest stars can ever achieve, because it was so much less media, it was so less diluted, all that other stuff. And that's your who?
That's my Britney.
Britney, right? Yeah, exactly. Madonna and to Britney, and like Cardi or Beyonce, probably the biggest star in the world now, is huge. But there are 25 other enormous female acts. At the time, she would have been the only one, and Britney was in a class by herself. Like Christina came along, but never even came close to the throne Britney held. Madonna had Cyndi Lauper came out a year or two later with Girls Just Want to Have Fun. She was enormous. Never sniffed the air that Madonna had. She was alone on a pedestal by herself, as was Britney. And I don't think that today's artists can ever get that high, just because of the way media is, the way streaming is. You don't have to go to a record store to buy a record to see the sales. You can just stream everything at once.
And I agree with you. I don't think we can have the superstars today like we used to. I don't know if Madonna gets that. So I think Madonna thinks that she's the biggest superstar in the world. You know
ever.
What I'm saying? That I don't think Madonna
realizes time has gone by.
Yeah, gives credit that Cardi could never be Madonna status in this time.
Right.
It just couldn't happen.
Right.
Even Beyonce is still one of many. I know she's
one of
queen.
She may be the one of many, but there's still many behind her, and that just wasn't the case for all the reasons we're talking. It had nothing to do with Beyonce's star. It just has to do with the way media is just different now.
There's so many celebrities now.
There are so many celebrities now, and it's so much more democratized. You can just put something out and get 100 million people to watch you in a day on a streaming platform or on a social media platform that you just didn't have access to. You were within the studio system. They backed a certain person, and they paid for that person for everything and made sure they got complete saturation on all media, all radio stations. You just can't achieve that kind of thing anymore. Did you watch any baseball this weekend, Jamie?
I did not.
You did not watch any baseball this weekend. I will say, just to conclude this thing, if you don't have to be a baseball fan to watch Bryce Harper's home run for the Philadelphia Phillies to send them to the World Series was one of the greatest moments in sports history and in baseball history. A game that about 7 people still enjoy, and I happen to be one of those 7. It was one of the most incredible electric things I've ever seen in sports. And a weekend that's all football now. All we care about as a country is football now.
I do care about baseball. I had a busy week with 3 kids, but I don't care about.
Isn't your brother a stud baseball player?
Yes, my brother is a baseball player. My dad was a baseball player. So
there we go. All right, everybody. On that happy note, we're going to take off. We'll see you tomorrow.